operations, or in some cases, aid their clients in such activities. Assume you have infiltrated one such illegal corporation with the goal of understanding their operations and devising mitigation solutions to their methods and approaches. Use a case study of an online cartel that provides DDoS services to clients at a cost as guidance. Explain the following 6 elements of a malicious operation. So, which means that he wants to explain the affiliate programs. So you can go ahead.
Thank you, Ishmael. Lakson.
Hello, guys.
Hi.
Yes, Marco on screen.
Yes, you can enlarge it a little bit.
How about now? Hello? Hello?
I think right. It's a good one.
Jaguanica.
Shannon.
Yes.
Yes. So the affiliate programs, for Nipandajwa now, it says it's a scheme where the main organization provides a brand and all the means required to carry out orders of shipments and payments. The main goal of organized crime is to make money from their operations. So the affiliate program running like a well-oiled technical infrastructure to make sure that even their operations, the payments, and everything is really interconnected. So this requires not only a well-oiled technical infrastructure to make sure that their botnets operate properly, but perhaps more importantly, a working method to collect payments from victims or from sponsors in the case of those attacks, while making sure that all the actors involved in the operation get paid. Which are attacks and everyone who is involved using a payment system effective. In cyber criminal world, this is hello?
Can you speak up a bit?
You can't hear me?
Not well.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, is anyone recording this?
I'm not so sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. An affiliate program is a scheme where the main organization provides a brand and all the means required to carry out orders, shipments, and payments. The affiliates can join the program, direct traffic to the platform, and get a cut of the sales that they are responsible. Although this scheme exists for legitimate businesses, e.g., Jakarta and Amazon, they can even facilitate for my payments are legit. It's also now being used even for illicit deals and everything. It has been particularly successful for cyber criminal operations. The main difference between legitimate and criminal affiliate programs is that the second category of operations typically deals with products that are considered illegal in most jurisdictions, e.g. counterfeit pharmaceuticals, gambling, counterfeit designer products, and they typically endorse criminal promotion techniques, e.g. the use of malware or black hat search engine optimization. Affiliate programs are popular in the cyber criminal world because they mean affiliates do not have to set up their operations from start to finish, but rather focus on attracting traffic, for example, by setting up botnets and sending email spam advertising the affiliate marketplace. The first successful examples of affiliate programs for cybercrime were centered around email spam and were advertising counterfeit pharmaceuticals. However, affiliate programs are present in most types of cyber dependent crime.
Hi, Luxon. I'm very
Yes.
sorry. Do proposa.
Yes. Hello?
Twitter question yipi sorabo.
It's question
Twitter question
1B,
yipi. I'm
1B3,
lost
I
for
think.
question paper. again.
The question paper post kwa Mascat, I think it's question 1B3.
Rasend wanatopintorera.
Yes. The one that was being read by
Ndiro rasend wanatopintorera
Ishmael
so
Mam.
rakaita
Yes.
PDF.
Nima we akawanda rasend and let me just check. I'm just checking as well. Rachekwa na akanzi nene.
Okay, ndokuti ndora rakaita inenge chi PDF so.
No, rakachinjwa.
Alright,
Rasend na akanzi nene. If you can say, check it. Around 1 Muscat.
Alright. Alright, thank you.
Warwana.
What question 1G?
Question
1B.
1B3.
Okay.
You've seen it. Can I just finish off reading?
Yes, please do.
Okay. However, affiliate programs are present in most type of cyber-dependent crime, an example being crypto war ransomware operation. In addition to providing the monetization necessary for cyber criminal operations, affiliate programs also act as facilitators for criminals to get in contact and trade the services that are needed for the operation to succeed. This is typically done by setting up a forum where affiliates can trade their services. Gaining access to these forums typically requires vetting by the affiliate program administrators. This is what I've found out, but naturally to you guys, you also assist, like, is it relevant enough to be answering the question here, T9? Because Abupan's using a case study for an online cartel that provides those services to clients at a cost as a guidance. Explain the 6 elements. So how I can explain, this was actually the definition of that element, like the affiliate programs. But in terms of explaining how iri kukwana iri pari kutaurwa nequestion kuti zviri kukwana iri, probably I also need help from you kuti zviri kusuta here that answering that question. Hello. Hello.
Hi, Luxon.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be in the right direction, but I was listening to what you were saying about affiliate programs. It's like they give a platform for people to answer. I mean, they give a platform for people to find these services, as much as they are illegal or bad. Saka, for this cartel, in terms of this case study, it means it's promoting this cyber criminal activity and providing the technology necessary for the clients to meet and execute the bad deeds and get their goals done. I mean, those are what I would have said. It's okay. Can I? Yeah.
No, ndizo ndizvo nanchitofungo. Ameno vamwe vane mamwe mumafungiro. Ishmael musanyarare kamani.
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
With what?
Agreement, Begutiji. What was your question?
My question is, Kati, inini shanda presenter ishandete? Because
Yes.
it was a definition of the affiliate programs. Takamira say and how they operate. And
Okay.
my question was, Kati, is it directly attacking the question, or there is a way that I am supposed to tackle it? That was my question.
Okay, you were in the right direction, but now because they seem to have asked for a case study, is there any example that you know of a certain group that has got an affiliate program that does something on behalf of the other people? If you had one, for example, if it is a cryptocurrencies, probably in a team in cryptocurrency websites or whatever, and then but they've got another one. I don't know if you have an example, but if you had an example, then you'll be relating to how they operate and what they'll be doing by putting names to the information that you have already shared. So maybe what you can hear from the other colleagues, if we have any people who know of certain examples.
Yeah, ipapo ndo pandoda kubatsirwa papa ndina maexample.
Plus, is all this for 3 marks?
Yeah, zvakawandisa zvazvo.
I think what is needed there is to give a definition of the affiliate activity and then giving an example. Example ndeyakati ini mandoziva ndewe mamani schemes wakambondirowa bhegi paiswa a certain person aita kunge ndiye ari kumirira vanhu vacho, but pakazenge panzi pavharwa munhu uya takatanga kumubvunza kuti kondiwe wainzi iye akati ino ndakatorowawo mari, haisi affiliate here, handizivi.
Because
I'm not sure if they're actually asking for an example, but and this is using a case study on an online cartel that provides DDoS services to clients at a cost. As in, these are the highlighted aspects kuti chingo related to this affiliate program issue. Saka kuti providing a service. All right, maybe no example but the but janana mbotaratara pekutanga izvozvo kuti and them providing a platform where people can meet and do whatever.
yeah, I think so.
I think there's no harm kupama specific examples kana unawo, just to be sure. If you look at pane video yakatipa kuma Google Classroom yema attack, the lady goes on to explain pane ma groups antozikanwa ukaenda pa might attack website pane ma groups antozikanwa like wana this is one yaipo example yeku North Korea I think or South Korea inonzi Lazarus something. So kune ma groups antozikanwa kuti iyi ndeyeku China inoperform for ma DOS, iyi ndeyeku Israel inoita phishing. So if you have those examples, maybe you can just go through those groups kuti in an exam situation kana pakapowa these scenarios, you can just mention just in case. We don't know kuti a specific example or it's just general, but there's no harm kuzongopa a specific example. That's what I think.
So Tapana, are you saying the phishing and DDoS attack, like the DDoS attack, are part of affiliate programs?
No, I'm not saying they are part of affiliate programs. I'm saying they are, because apart from an online cartel and it pay for my DOS attack and it. So
yes,
yeah. So you are trying to explain kubva pekutanga kusvika kupedzisira because uyangotora zveaffiliate program kuchauya part yekudefine zvana what else is there zvana invector, is it infection vectors or something uchidzika nayo, but you're just using that that group or that cartel as a case study uchipointer to that, not kuti phishing is an affiliate program.
Okay, now I understand.
Stop hangu kushare ndezvo.
No, wait, I'm just reading paragraph 2. It sounds very, very important, the paragraph number 2.
Hi, I've got a suggestion. You can share the document, maybe just to save our time.
Okay, it's okay. Then the other.
Okay. Oh, you still have another one. All right, it's fine.
Let me stop sharing. No, I was saying that in Dambora sika hangu ndikazotoita imwe question. So problem at she we have specialized services and you can just discuss. I won't present. Mungo discuss whatever if it's okay.
No. Which question is that one?
Sorry?
Which question is that one?
It's 1B, 1B2. Specialized services.
One B2. Okay.
I may just share and then you guys.
Yeah, you can just share. Felicity Mary. Felicity and Welly.
Auxilia, maybe we're not gonna kutaura question because tine vanhu vakanda ma questions probably wavharirwa nemagetsi, saka we will just go through what they've shared and then we try to make sense out of it, if that is okay with you.
Okay with the question. That one is okay. And this is also about question now. What is it? What is it? Blind. What we're looking at.
Hi, Oxley. That chimbokuluza. That's ndandisiriponza.
Okay, I was thinking, should we read through my questions so that I know any documents present whenever network issues or always the issue. How does to do that?
And that's a time on city to Kiro.
We can't hear anything.
Hi. Hello.
It's much better now.
Oh, it's much better now. Okay.
Yes.
Hands usually tukufana kuverenga ma questions here or what? Ishma watichi.
Panema responses anga aiswa ku WhatsApp. Do kunzi maybe anogona kuverenga because some people vavharirwa nemagetsi asi vaisa maresponse avo.
Okay, noted.
Question.
So Lakson Nangambo, but a question engagement of Kitchen Felicity and Welly. So I'll go present Ojawana and then we can start reading those those solutions dzatumirwa. So over to you, Lakson.
Ella? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
And you can see my screen as well, is it?
Yes.
Okay, I will just read through specialized services. These are services that help criminals set up their operations. In addition to these dedicated malicious services, others that have legitimate use, e.g. VPN, Tor, are also misused by criminals, for example, hosting drug market websites on the darknet. In my specialized services, I Pani Anonzima exploit kits. These are tools that collect a large number of vulnerabilities and are sold on the black market for other criminals to use. An exploit kit is typically accessible as a web application. Customers can point their victims towards it by compromising websites or using malicious advertisements. I think we have seen this even for no access to my websites. When you direct to some websites, I'm going to download something. I'm not so sure if it points to this. Drive-by download attacks are a powerful weapon that cyber criminals can use to infect computers with malware without any human interaction. The problem with effectively performing these attacks, however, is that they require an exploit to a software vulnerability in the victim's system. Since cyber criminals want to infect as many victims as possible, it is challenging to find an exploit that can work on systems of the majority of potential victims. In addition to this issue, exploits do not age well since software vendors routinely patch their vulnerabilities that they know about. A cyber criminal performing a sustained drive-by download operation therefore would need to continuously collect exploits to multiple vulnerabilities, a task that is unfeasible, especially when the criminal has to run other parts of the business, e.g. the monetization part. Once a victim visits the exploits kit web page, these two first fingerprints the victim's system looking for a potential vulnerability to be exploited. It then delivers the exploit to the victim. If successful, the victim's computer is instructed to download the malware on the customer's choice. These issues have created an opportunity for specialized criminals to provide services for the rest of the community. Then pay anonzima pay per install services. Infecting a victim computer and maintaining a botnet is a complex task, and research has shown that malware operators who attempt to do so without proper expertise struggle to make profits. To solve this issue and satisfy the demand for stable botnets, a new criminal service has emerged called Pay Per Install Service. PPI operators are proficient in setting up a botnet and having it run properly. Other criminals can then pay the PPI operator to install malware on the infected computers on their behalf. PPI services typically offer a good level of choice granularity to their customers who not only choose how many infections they want to install, but also their geographical location, with bots developed in developed countries costing more than infection in developing ones. An advantage of using PPI services is that they make their customers, cyber criminals, operations more resilient. If their malware stops working, for example, because law enforcement has taken down the CNC servers that it uses, the criminal can resume operations by asking the PPI operator to install an updated version of their malware on the victim's machine. For this reason, the malware symbiosis between PPI services and other botnets is very common in the criminal ecosystem. Please, msandibvunzewo mamwe mavhoko ari mukuti anorevei. Handitoziviwo, ndoda kutobatsirwa nemi. Right, this is what I found out. I mean, we can discuss kuti zvakamira one.
Thank you. Any additions, subtractions?
There's Pampa Verengo
Uh,
question there.
I liked how you tackled that part.
It was question what, by the way? 1B. 1B2.
1B2.
1B2, yes.
All right.
Another question.
Nini ndongo
Yeah,
kumbiwa
I
about
think maybe Papa could present.
Sorry, I was thinking, but can someone try and break it down for some of us? In Nini Jango, I was just reading through the lines, like reading in between the lines. I did not understand a thing. So maybe someone can try and demystify the mystery.
That's what I was asking Kuti. Maybe Pagaita Mananoverenga question, or maybe before presenting Kana Munakangoverenga question and then Tozona the solution. Because but I didn't know the question.
The question, no, the question is Yambo, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe didn't know.
Yeah, very
The question was define specialized services in line with DDoS services.
Okay.
So I can stop sharing, is it?
Sorry, I just wanted to ask Kuti, but the question was was it linked to DDoS somehow? Maybe I missed that part. But had she defined that she linked DDoS?
Yes, it was linked to DDoS, but okay. The first part of the question, I think Dr. Jones is ready now. He's going to present on the definitions and then the differences, DDoS and DOS, and then Iyomva Yapinda, because the first part it could distinguish a DOS attack from a DDoS attack with the aid of illustrations and examples. So I think Dr. Jones is going to work on that one. So Dr. Jones, are you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. All right, let me try and connect my machine. Just a moment. I believe you can see my screen now.
Yes, we can.
Yes, John.
All right. Okay. So the question that we were doing, it was like distinguish between DOS attack from a DDoS attack with the aid of illustrations and examples, right? Well, to start with, a denial of service, a DOS attack floods a server with traffic, making a website or a resource unavailable, right? So the major difference that we may first need to note between a DDoS and a DOS is that a DDoS really comes down, it all comes down to the number of attackers, right? Whereby we are saying, Kuti, in a DOS, there is only one machine that's used to do the hacking, and in a DDoS, like there are a multiple number of machines that can be used. Okay, so in a DOS attack, the hacker's goal is to make the victim's website unavailable. So basically, this is what we are explaining here, where we are saying attack floods the server with traffic. So we are generally saying that the victim makes the website unavailable, and this is done by flooding the system with the number of requests that is normally that a system can normally handle. So we're actually saying kuti system in a certain number of activities that it can handle, right? And then the hacker now comes in and then overloads the system. Saka system inopedzera yakuremerwa, and thereby the hacker can now get access into the system. Okay, and then both types of attacks overload a server. So we are saying a DDoS and a DOS, they both overload a server or a web application with the goal of interrupting the services. So as the server is flooded with more transmission control protocol or datagram protocol packets that it processes, it may crash. So that means if a system has been overloaded, then it can now crash, and thereby the user cannot have access to the system because it was paralyzed, right? So this one is the first diagram, is the DOS diagram, whereby we are saying we have only one machine at use, and then this is the server. So what the hacker does now is the hacker will overload the system, and it overloaded the system, and then the server now, after the server has been overloaded, then the user won't be able to use the system because it may crash, right? And then in a DDoS, there are quite a number of machines that are used, right? And DDoS means distributed denial of service. So that's how it means. That's what it means. So in DDoS attack, many machines are assembled to conduct the attack. So generally, that's what happens. Now, moving on to the differences, okay? And then there is ease of detection or mitigation. Since DOS comes from a single location, it is easy to detect its origin and the server connection, right? Because we can actually note it will be very easy for one to ascertain or to note where the server is, the connection is coming from, since it's only one machine that will be used, right? And then there is also the speed of attack. Because DDoS attacks comes from multiple locations, it can be deployed much faster than a DOS attack that originates from a single location, okay? And then the increased speed of attack makes detecting it more difficult, because it's a bit fast when it's DDoS other than when it's DOS. Because like when my machines are counted, they're working together, it seems like they're a bit faster as compared to if the machine is one, right? And then there's also the traffic volume that says a DDoS attack employs multiple remote machines, which means that it can send much larger amounts of data of traffic from various locations simultaneously. That is, a lot of information can actually flood into the server, thereby trying to overload the server so that one can get access to it, right? And then there is the manner of execution. A DDoS attack coordinates multiple hosts infected with malware. These are bots, creating a botnet managed by a command and control, right? And in contrast, a DOS attack typically uses a script or a tool to carry out the attack from a single machine. And then there is also the issue of tracing of resource, which is the use of botnet in DDoS attacks means that tracing the actual origin is much more complicated than tracing the origin of a single DOS. Okay, and then just to give a summary of what we were generally talking about, we can note that DOS attacks are much faster than DDoS attacks, right? And then we can also note that DOS attacks use fewer computers than DDoS attacks. And then DOS attacks do not use DNS servers. For like DNS, we are talking of the domain name system, as opposed to DDoS attacks, right? And then also DOS attacks use more memory than DDoS attacks, because you can actually note that when we are using a single machine, it means everything that you're supposed to do, you're supposed to do it at that very machine. Unlike when you're using a DDoS, whereby there are a pool of computers. So it actually means you are using less memory. So generally, these are the differences between a DDoS and a DOS. And this is the diagram, the illustration for the diagram. Any questions, guys?
I will explain. Thanks a lot, John.
All right.
Dr. Zatango Zinzwisiso.
Okay.
Hamurishi baba.
Thanks, ndamzwisisa madiagram anibhurukanga muexam.
Kukungoita chingopedza bepa rese.
Imimi raitisire vamwe.
Ndiwo wakayeka kompyuta yangu iyo.
Naitopindo.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Jones. Moving on to the next question. January ready. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. You're on which one? Fadzai. Are you presenting?
Ours is 2C. I don't know whether 2A and B was it.
All right. Weapon number one. Very good. Number one. Hi guys.
Ishmael, Moses, and Ernest. Can you come in? Meet one.
Tinashe marume arimo. Primi.
Hello. Looks like question one yes atopera.
I know tombopera because pangoita question 1A, B1 hapana, B2 yaitwa naloxone ne B3 naloxone, then B4 and B5 had sati.
I was trying to compile zvinhu zviripo hanti. Let me see what I have. Question 1A ye-DOS ne-DDoS ndo yaitwa na Dr. Jones handiti?
Yes.
So that one is sorted. Then part B pane one ye-infrastructure. Was it presented but it was shared on the group?
No.
1B.
Okay.
It's not on a premium Robin.
So let me share the screen then. It's ideally good with Chitongo move in their order so that we don't get lost. You can mix an out dosi zozopozotaro zemosi. Wameto atato viringika zvakawandisa zvokuti tasonza.
Thank you.
Right, I just wanted to confirm that you are about to see my screen so that I can enlarge it.
About to, or we can see.
Okay. So the first question do is from Dr. Jones. So Dr. Jones, once you are done, you can send it through. Then I was trying to compile it. Then the second question, let me look at the question. The question was then it was asking, using a case study of an online cartel that provides DDoS services to clients at a cost as a guidance. So it means it's in particular reference to that case study. Explain the following 6 elements of a malicious operation. So one of the elements is infrastructure. And the people who researched on infrastructure, they said the online cartel provides infrastructure to host the fraudulent activities of the cyber criminals. This is because servers are continuously monitored by law enforcement and internet service providers for malicious activities. So cyber criminals can seek the services of bulletproof hosting service providers, and these are firms that allow their customers considerable lenience in the kinds of material they may upload and distribute, or the activities that they can engage in with their purchased host without getting taken down. In an example they gave Cyberbank, which was however taken down in 2019, and this is the reference. Then the cyber criminals can also seek the services of command and control infrastructure, and these are platforms that offer a set of tools and techniques that attackers use to maintain communication with compromised devices following initial exploitation. For example, he gave the PowerShell Empire in Cobalt Strike. So in a summary, saying there are some institutions or service providers that can actually assist these people without taking down their sites or whatever their activities. So that was the response that we got. Maybe there could be someone who wants to add more information, or someone who wants to summarize it, or just to give a comment. You can go ahead before we move to the next. Okay, just to react. Aaron, just to react.
Ishmael.
Yes, Anna.
I want to ask Goti, is it the same name that malware? I forgot the phrase in Oshandiswa. Inoiswa upon installation, like that comes with the software, or it's different. Yegoti, I'm asking, is it the same name, the malware, inoiswa upon installation of a software? Yegoti, the hackers actually pay the people, the service provider, so that the malware comes with the software. So when you then install it, they to run near the malware as well. Is it the same as this one? And what you explain? What's different? I forgot what the phrase is, but yeah. Is it the same thing?
No, it's not the same thing. This one is just the provision of the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure. So it's possible that there is also another one, which is the software side, rather than the infrastructure. But it works one and the same way, where some people would actually allow the selling or the distribution of that software without taking it down, just like the infrastructure. I think the concept is one and the same thing, but for infrastructure, it's actually the servers, the hardware equipment that is provided and not taken down. That's what I think. I don't know for others. Okay, Tete, can I go ahead with the next session so that? Okay, so the other one is specialized services. I don't know which one was presented by Lucky.
I don't and then the following. Please issue going to take over.
So this one may affiliate, it has been done. Okay, then infection vectors, human services, never payment methods, asad zaundwa. Do we have the presenters or the people who is supposed to present on infection vectors so that we can check if they've done anything?
You can talk about my presenters.
In I wasn't tasked to do this, but for my infection vectors, I think we can consider the SQL injections, XXS. Those are the examples that I think apply there, unless I'm wrong. I don't know.
Okay, thank you for that. Any person who has got a bit of some information to infection vectors, or we agree that we need to go and look for it if the people who are supposed to look at it are not going to look at it, and it. Okay, then human services. What will happen? Is it that an organization will hire expert people who have got these necessary skills to cause the malicious whatever activities, or what? They may not necessarily have the skills, but also hire people and pay them. That's what I think. Anyone who has got any background to that? And also in terms of payment methods, it's probably like someone might ask a question, which whenever these people are doing all these hackings and all these malicious activities and stuff, how do they get their payment or their ransom? They actually did they use legit payment methods? And if they do, what do they do to probably lubricate the people who run those sites? Or when they are supposed to be traced, why is it not that easy to just trace them back using the details that they may have supplied? So probably the payment methods is just maybe a cartel that also includes the people who run the facilities that allow for the payments to go through or whatever. That's what is just coming in my mind. If it were in an exam and I'm not really sure, I would just say that maybe to scrape around and get a mark also. I don't know for others before I move to the next question.
I think I would include cryptocurrency there because it is more obscure. Haitaure kwayabo kana kuti kwairuenda.
Okay, so thank you very much. That is the far that I've gone with regards to question number 1. Then question 2, who are the presenters?
Sorry, Ishma. So question 1 here, is
according to what I wrote here,
presenter for 2A together with your colleague.
All right. Okay, what I to say could this
yes,
Jaya Bunzwa. I think andita pa takatarisa case studies just ikungotarisa zvedidhos handiti. So patinanga tichianza, I think you just need to answer and reference, sort of like public data application. But considering question paper, because those are my maximum show anakwanda per each section, my 3, my 4. So what you can do, and if you go by, I think lecture takaita under my notes area, that's kinds of threats and adversarial behavior. Slide 0, it's a PDF, all right, from slide 47. Yaka list, I think my one page, but iriku define as I think from there we're not gonna to pick up my points 2, 3, and all these formats. If you refer to my notes in my attack class. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Oxy. I think I got the presentation. Yeah, what if from slide number?
And dear Christy, it's not me.
Oh, it's Christia.
Sorry, and now Kunzo, come again.
I wanted to ask the deliver slide number. I'm not seeing the
slide. Slide and to another rakanzi threats and adversarial behavior and it. 47. Page 47. Elements of malicious operations here.
Okay, yes, that's fine. Let me, so that it can be beneficial to some other people. I'm gonna shy out. Okay, just to show you, this is the one, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
This one. Yes, so here it was talking about affiliate programs. And it was saying the main goal of the organized crime is to take money from their operations. Then it talked about well oiling. I think that's the one that we got from the presenter. I think it was Lucky. So that's fine. So we have that one. Then infection vectors. The first step required by criminals to perform a malicious activity is often infecting their victims with malware. And then there's the description. I think that's fine. We have seen okay, it's still infection vectors. Then infrastructure, the host infrastructure. And then this one, I think that's exactly what was presented, which is great. Then specialized services, VPN and whatever. So fine. We have got it in the notes. We need to go and have a look at it. Human services, fine. Then payment methods. So that's okay. So with regards to question number 1, I can see we have the material to look at, if I'm not mistaken. So that's fine. Thank you very much, Christy, for the... Then Jeremiah, are you the one who is presenting on question number 2?
It's your 2A, Jeremiah, number 2B.
So I wasn't supposed to present. I don't even know about this thing. But now, the question was, there are a number of conceptual models that exist when it comes to digital forensic investigation. Then with the aid of a simple case study of your choice, as well as diagrams explain the cognitive task model, taking care to highlight the foraging and sense-making loops I think I remember the lecturer emphasizing on this diagram. And at one point he said you need to know this diagram and to draw it as a first thing. So can you have a photographic mind to draw this diagram when it comes? And he said it's coming. So ideally, to document forensic investigations and probably to describe some intelligence analysis, the sense-making process, which is here, as well as it also looks this other side, the sense-making look for analysts, and the cognitive task is actually used for forensic analysis. So when you look at the cognitive model here on the diagram, it's actually derived from a cognitive task analysis. And what it does is to give a detail of the different aspects of an intelligence analyst's work. So when you're doing the analyst work in terms of intelligence, forensic and digital intelligence, you use that model. There are so many tools that can be used, and some of them are actually similar to this one. But as for this one, I want to try to explain some of the processes. I'm not really sure of what happens. But if you look at it overall from this figure, the boxes here, like the external data sources, the shoebox, the evidence file, schema, hypothesis, and presentation. These boxes, they represent the different stages in the information processing pipeline. So it actually starts with this one, which refers to the external data sources. In a way, these are the raw data, and then ends with the information that is going to be presented. And then when you look at these arrows that we have connecting these rectangles and processes, they indicate the transformational processes, which actually move information from one box to another. So what it means, the information that is extracted here will be moved to this one, moved to this one, and if possible, moved back for further analysis. Then if you look at the x-axis here, it looks at the overall effort that is required to move the information from a certain stage to another. So the effort starts here, it's a little bit lower according to this model, and as it goes up, the effort actually increases. Then the y-axis, this one, shows the amount of structure, probably it's in respect to the investigative processes. So I just want to continue explaining this one. So when you look at the external data sources, these are the sources for a specific investigation, and they can include disk images, some memory snapshots, some network captures. Probably there is a fraud that was committed in a certain organization by people who are insiders. So they may look at videotapes or cameras that are set at the office. So that information that is on the images and all network captures and everything else is actually stored there. Then the shoebox now, it has all the data that has been potentially identified as relevant. And this may also include things like email communications between or amongst people of interest. Like we are saying, the people are inside an organization and a fraud has been committed. So their emails or communications are actually gathered together. So the idea is to have any other information that is potentially relevant to the initial disk images that we got, right? And then the evidence file now contains the parts that are directly relevant to the case. For example, there are specific email exchanges that on the topic of interest. We have insiders, like I said, a video camera has been taken and faces have been identified. Then we look for email boxes for those people who have been identified on the text. Then on evidence file now, we are particularly narrowing down to the emails that are relevant to the case that we are looking at. Then when we go to the schema now, this orange like pinkish thing, it has got now more organized division of the evidence. And this will be looking at the timeline of the events. When was the issue committed? We are looking at emails that actually were received immediately after, or immediately before, or sometime when the fraud was being hedged. So in the schema, there could be some relationship, some information can actually be presented in some relationships, graphs, and all sorts of things. Then the hypothesis now, the reddish stage, it's actually a tentative conclusion, and it explains the observed evidence that has been observed here in the scheme. In a way, it forms a final conclusion. And then, once the investigators are satisfied by the hypothesis that is supported by the evidence, now the hypothesis turns into a presentation. Now the presentation now forms part of the investigator's report, which is giving that information. But we have important aspects in this diagram, and they include this foraging loop, which is between the shoebox and the evidence, as well as the sensing making loop, which is around the schema and the hypothesis, and also the other sense making loop for analysts. So when you look at the foraging loop here, it involves the actions that are taken to find the potential sources of information. Remember here, we said you are looking at emails, you are looking at any evidence that we think are potential. So this one, it actually involves all the actions that will be taken to find the potential sources of information, and which then queries them. That's why we are talking about reading, extracting, searching for relationships. So it's a matter of querying the potential information that we have, so that we can only filter those that are relevant. And then the sense-making loop now, which also the analysts develop, it's actually iterative in fashion, and this one is supported by the evidence that is gotten there. So if you look at the write-up that I'll finalize later on, it goes on to explain the processes of searching and filtering and all these iterations in the arrows. It actually explains each and every element there. So basically, in a nutshell, this is the cognitive task model, and this is what I have to present in the limited time that I've been allocated by the chair. Thank you. Any additions, any subtractions?
Is this coming from your head or you're reading?
In case you hear me, it's not coming from my head.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, you're good.
But cannot cremeka.
Exactly, you can say that again. Kungo draw to my box 36. Oba nyora to my zita out. Wonyora to my arrow kana wakangano zime zili pakati ukangonyora to my arrow tututu. You are guaranteed of something. But I remember the lecturer saying you need to know this diagram and you need to draw it. Then zimezokuzotara ungati uzochada kuzo kunyepa swangu ka draw.
Shoebox day.
Shoebox. Right. Padataura nditati external data sources. Tapa example yekuti pabiwa. Then a company yobra pane paine cameras. Ndizo. Saka tine cameras manje. Pane images ataburitswa either akatorwa cameras. Kana tuma memory snapshots. Any of that information do iri pa external data source. But tikazotarisa manje pa shoebox, now we are identifying any other potential relevant information. Tawana eduma images, ansi kama vano vari na inside panogona kunge paine communication yavanga vachiita either nemasecurity guards kana kuti nevamwe vanhu vasina kunyatsooneka pamakamera but vari involved. Saka tine takuenda kumamailboxes emaface atiri kususpect. So now the shoebox is now to get any potential relevant information that you may want. It can be WhatsApp communications. Panozotorwa mafoni evanhu tida kuona kuti wanga achimbotaura nani, ndiani akazofonerwa, kana tinogona kunge ari munhu akafa vanoda kumhanya kunobata mafoni, oda kutarisa ndiani wakapedzera kutaura naye, ndiani wakataura naye patime iri padhuze nepakaitika event. So any other additional information that can be used is actually in the shoebox.
I see. Nice, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, colleagues. We can move to the next presenters.
Waseva mfanangu, waseva.
Dr. Mike. So from I don't know if I'm still talking. So from the presentations, there is another person who is supposed to talk about the 3 types of firewalls. I didn't see any presentation that was shared so that I could read it. I don't know. Anyway, I know we've got people who know firewalls. What is the firewall and what are the 3 types of firewalls that are there?
Urumanya wangu rega present. Wangu wangu kana upamkana uga present.
Une presentation, go ahead, please. Sorry.
Okay, I think let's just try to define what a firewall is and it. But the question is saying compare and contrast any 3 types of my packet firewalls. Okay, when you talk of my firewalls, we are more like talking of my bouncers or the domain and that prevents something kuti. So like on the firewalls, they'll be protecting our network from an attack. My attacks are like my virus, my Trojan, my ransomware. So basically a firewall, these are just the softwares or the hardware that work as a filtration system for the data attempting to enter your computer or your network, right? They are more like my security tools, my firewalls. And firewalls, they scan my packets for malicious code or attack vector that have already been identified as established threats. So we are just going to talk about the packet filter, the stateful inspection, and the proxy, which at times are called the gateway server firewalls. So when you're talking of my packet filters, they are called either the first generations. So a packet filter firewall controls the network access by analyzing the outgoing and incoming packets. It lets a packet pass or block its way by comparing it with pre-established criteria like the allowed IP addresses, packet type, and port number. Packet filtering techniques is suitable for my small networks but gets complex when they implemented to large networks. It is also noted that this type of firewalls cannot prevent all types of attacks. They can either tackle the attack that use application layer vulnerabilities, nor can fight some spoofing attacks. The other type is the stateful inspection. When you talk of the stateful packet inspection, they are also called my dynamic packet filtering. This is a powerful firewall architecture which examines traffic streams from end to end. They work very fast and they use an intelligent way to ward off unauthorized traffic by analyzing the packet's headers and inspecting the state of the packets along with providing a proxy servers. They work as the network layer. And the last one is the proxy server, which I said like they are called the gateway server firewalls at times. And these are the most secured type of firewalls that effectively protects the network resources by filtering messages at the application layer. The proxy firewalls, they mask up IP address and limit traffic types. They provide a complete and a complete and protocol-aware security analysis for the protocols they support. Proxy servers offers the best internet experience and results in the network performance improvements. I think that's all we can say about the firewalls.
Okay, thank you very much, Nation. Do you have anyone who wants to add anything or any comment on the 3 types of firewalls? So that's fine. We can move to the yes, Tanashe?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if that solution was posted in the group.
Nation Chipindo.
Hi, no, I'm going to share just now. And that's not to me. I'm going to share just now in the next 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Jeremiah, are you ready?
Maybe the person wants to present, it was shared on the group. Asi kana mnataripo ano share kana sipo, we can deem what they shared and then we move on.
On question 2C, I can do it.
Okay, go ahead.
So the question was saying, explain the firewall design principles you would consider when designing one. And this note, is it my machine or it's someone? You take a feedback.
I think he might get Ishmael. I think that's
It's all right. So the principles that we should ensure that all traffic from inside or outside and vice versa must pass through the firewall. So when you are designing your firewall, you make sure that all the traffic either from outside or from inside, it should pass through the firewall so that it will be able to sift through or filter what is not needed and make sure that only the legit information passes through the firewall. And then you should ensure that only authorized traffic as defined by the local security policy will be allowed to pass. So the firewall should ensure that only the authorized, because on the firewall, I'm sure you have to put some parameters to say if it is information maybe from this kind of a site, it should not pass through. So all that information we should not be allowed to go through, should not, and only the allowed information should pass through. So your parameters should be able to filter everything that should not pass through. And then the third element that we find, it was that the firewall itself should be immune to penetration, so that it avoids people who want to do hacking and everything. So it should be immune to penetration, the firewall that you have you'll be designing. So those are the 3 factors that I found out. Was the question, I think it is about 4 marks or something. So I thought these ones will suffice. Thank you. I don't know if there are any questions on the principles. Hello. Hello, people.
Yes, we're hearing you, Fadzai. You are waiting for any colleagues who have got anything to comment. If not, we then move. So thank you, Fadzai. We move on to question number 3. The question talks about clause 5 main incentives. The people who are presenting, can they come over and present? Oxy, banana represent.
I can't accept this. Okay.
Hi guys. This question was assigned to me and Tendai. I'd done a bit of research on it. I was still completing it though, but it's good for presentation. Chanjango Sara my examples. So let me just share my screen and then we can start. Okay, so these are the 5 main principles for moving criminal operations online. This is according to CLAW. So I'll just dive into the 5 principles. The first one is okay. According to CLAW, criminals have 5 main incentives to move their operations online. The first reason being, using the internet, it is easier to find and contact victims since email lists are sold on underground markets, while online social networks have search functionalities embedded in them, allowing criminals to easily identify potential victim. For example, you have things like sextortion, doxing, cyberbullying, cyberstalking. We often doxing and cyberbullying to ones with better needs, whereby we're saying kuti cyberbullying, you can mock someone about their weight or something they said and it ends there. But with doxing now, I can target a person and wanting information yake, and then I release that information. Then it initiates cyberbullying. So that's the difference between cyberbullying and doxing. But cyberbullying, they just pass hate speech because of what they see. Jingoripo, but doxing is induced. It's cyberbullying is induced by someone. Then sextortion is whereby maybe you've been on a dating site with someone, then they ask you to do a sexual performance online and they record that. Then after that, mari, so that I don't release this sex tape or something like that. Then cyber stalking, whereby you just follow someone online. There are two parts. One, they just do the cyber stalking online and it ends there. But for other people, they actually take it to the physical. We could actors or any information about you, and things like that, and then they end up following you in person and things like that. And then the second principle is by using the internet, criminal operations can be run more cheaply. Sending emails is free, while scammers previously had to pay postage to reach their victims. This also allows criminals to increase the scale of their operations to sizes that were previously unthinkable. Taking, for example, the advance free fraud. Yeah, you just receive an email in your inbox. Then they tell you, we are offering this course, what, and for you to enroll in this course, ordinarily it costs maybe 1,000 US,
but for you to get a scholarship for this course year 1000, you need to pay maybe 20 USD upfront. Then you can have the course for free. Unengwa like the $980. You just pay that $20, but it needs to be paid in advance. Then once you pay that, muna chabatiki. There are also issues like drug dealing, and whereby kudara you just operate within your area ya uri iyoyo. But now munu can just pay for those drugs and you mail them or whatever. You find a way you could deliver to that person using courier or whatever it is, but you don't have to physically meet the person. So those are the examples that can be used there. Then principle number 3, compared to their physical counterparts, internet allows crimes to be performed faster. For example, emails can reach victims within a matter of seconds without having to wait for physical letters to be delivered. Kudhara waiti wakatumira tsamba, it would take a menu, maybe waitonzi kana muri Harare tsamba inodeliverwa the following day, depending on what posta nguwai. Kana iri out of town, deliver the next day for those towns that are closer to you. Kana tori matowns are kure, maybe probably a week to get to the person. So imagine iri a parcel ya waisa imomo, it should take long to reach that person. But now with emails, you just send the content, whatever you want kumunu. You better Skype papo. This is worked with phishing. That's now listing my examples. But this can work with phishing, whereby my banking details, and things like that. You send an email to someone purporting that you are in organization, so you need to go to the website and enter your PIN. So always a link, then you just click on that link, you go and enter your details, then you're done. Then you're to thank you, and it's done. But in actual fact, you sent your details to someone. Your banking details or whatever details that they need to get money from you. So that's actually faster than having to meet the person kana kuti kutsvoswera kutsvaga munhu wachiona kuti ndiani ari likely kubudisa mari. Then principle number 4, using the internet, it is easier to operate across international boundaries, reaching victims located in other countries. In this setting, often the only limitation is language, with criminals targeting victims who speak a language that they are familiar with. For example, people in English-speaking countries. I think this one again, it goes back to when you get an email yakanzi sekuru wangu ndina sekuru wangu vari kuno vakafira whatever country ningeshitaura nemunhu wachona, so I need someone with a bank account, so would you be willing to use your bank account and things like that. They tell you a whole lot of stories, what. So back then, it could only happen like when you meet the person physically, and it will be within a confined area. But now with emails, you can send them out to everyone. You can send messages on Instagram, you can send messages on Facebook and things like that. You can talk to a whole lot of people. Then you have a wider catchment area because of the internet. Kudara tango, you'd expect this from in town, pane kune basa and the airport verenga mari and things like that. That is the kind of thing. But the only difference now is being done on the internet. So it's a form of a cyber enabled crime. Then the 5th principle, by operating over the internet, it is more difficult for criminals to get caught. This is mainly due to the transnational nature of cybercrime and the fact that the problem of harmonizing the appropriate levels of different countries is far from being solved. In addition, research shows that online crime is often underreported, both because victims do not know whom to report to, it to, given that the offender might be located in another country, as well as the fact that they believe that they are unlikely to get their money back. So yeah, for example, you pay for that scholarship unonzi bhadhara 1,000 upfront, or maybe unonzi to get a visa you need to pay so much. When you have paid and you don't really know the location, EMA offices, all you have is maybe an IP address, but you can't really track them down. Probably they were even, it's a fake one, they were using it. I mean, so you really can't report. And there was this, I'm not so sure if it was sent per group, but there was an article of a lady who was saying kuti joni ndakabirwa online, and I went to the police to report, and I tried to explain it to the police officer Ngaripo, who was actually failing to understand what I was talking about. And at the end of it all, she was just frustrated and she walked out because everything. They need physical people, and they need kuti makasangana kupi for them to make it a proper crime. Other than that, they just tell you inonzvaga munhu wako. So at the end of the day, one would end up giving up on reporting these crimes, and also the chances kuti vanhu vanobatwa are quite slim. So these are the 5 principles. As we go down from here, interpersonal offenders, this is just a list of the crimes that shown, and they're just explained in a bit. So I've just put in the link to the document that I drew these examples from. So that's it from me.
Okay, thank you, Angel. Any reactions or any comments? So from this question, I don't know if I got it right. This Makla wanted to just list what makes people to do criminals over the internet rather than physically. Is that so?
Exactly. As it is written, what are the incentives of moving your
criminology?
Yes.
Your criminology online.
Exactly. It's just like you having a business. Why would you want to put it online?
Okay. Thank you very much. Colleagues, if you do not have any questions, now we move on to question B. It was asking examples and diagrams to explain B1 three-way handshake. We didn't receive that presentation on the group. So the people who are responsible, who are they and can they present? Saidi na Elizabeth. Saidi aripea. Johannes. He is not here. And Elizabeth. Or is there anyone? Chinofu. Three-way handshake, Chief.
Ishmael.
Yes, Angel.
Okay, I think I can explain this one, the bits that I know. So a three-way handshake, it's chinotangira pakuti TCP, like transmission control, what?
Protocol.
Exactly. So it's a way of communicating, like between a client and a server, where a client is sort of like Ishmael Google on Facebook, and so you have to establish a communication and with the server first before you can do whatever you want to do. It's like ndasvika pauri wakagara padesk pako. Before I start talking nyaya dzangu semunhu, we expect kuti the first thing is you greet someone, then you go on into having your conversation. So that's the same with a three-way handshake. It's sort of like you're doing a greeting first, then you go on into your business of the day. And unosvika woti zvoni makadii yenyu, munobva ati tiripo hedu makadiwo, obva wati tiripo, then you go on into your into your conversation, like shown up on na Christy. The first part, you are the client and you're offering the scene. Scene means synchronization. Then the server, who is the person that you're talking to, replies with a scene, which is a synchronization and acknowledgement. And they're acknowledging your greeting. And then the synchronization that they're sending back to you is their greeting to you as well. Which is an acknowledgement, which is the synchronization. Then iwewe, the client, you are responding, which is an acknowledgement, which is tiripo. And so it's a kukwazisana, kuripo between the client and the server to establish a relation. Then you go on to doing your business.
Okay. The scene you've already explained about it to say it's synchronization. What about the ACK? What does it stand for?
The act is acknowledgement.
Thank you.
Chapua shared the text per messaging. You can explain that diagram.
In the group or in this meeting platform?
In this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Angel. Thank you, colleagues who assisted Christy and Joma, and also Taprachno Funda. Then we go to the second one. The second one is the Nmap ideal scan. There are people who are presenting on that one. They are Christy and Mary.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I shared this diagram because in Kanatak with the ideal scan, so Kanatanga to understand that the first part TCP connection establishment mechanism can have a three-way handshake. So that's how it goes. So the next step maybe teenage document that I got shared there already. I will explain as Jesse. And at the bottom we thought could maybe these two images. My diagrams are I'm not gonna explain that could ideal scan better. But for the sake of presentation, she told that don't go and some pictures. She explained. She told me that things we see. So under normal circumstances, that's a three-way handshake. So in the event you could acknowledge and sync acknowledge, then you via you send the transmission, then the client acknowledge could receive a sync plus acknowledgement. But now in the event you could the server aina acknowledge, it means could okay there is a no area could maybe the port is not open and it is closed and it saka respond and then the RST reset and it to the client no better yakadaro saka hapana any further communication kuti hapana kuzoestablishwa the three-way handshake because server port irichi iri closed. And now kana takuenda now kunonzi it was idle attack, idle scan, sorry. We know when we're doing especially my pen test, the first step usually is to do my port scanning and kuti maybe my loopholes my doors penetrate now. So kana chita port scanning, basically that's what we'll be doing, maybe sending my requests, my thing, then you save your acknowledge your sender a reset. But in this case now, because someone is a hacker, ada kuita, okay, aruda ku wander behind someone and you want to sort of like impersonate another computer. So this computer normally referred to as a zombie because even the zombie, because network traffic in that PC is very slow and it's non-existent. Okay, we explain. You get that. Can shashka pamberi partners not why tishida in a network traffic is very slow. Is see panditika. Meaning we have to transmit anything. So that zombie machine man, act as a medium machine between the attacker. Okay, in this case, through the client, na server, the attacker, not the victim, and it. So I'll move on to the next. So okay, before I go, sorry.
What is RST?
It's just Igumira reset. It's it respond, okay. The full term is reset, RESET. It's what when you receive that, it just means that the port actually closed kanaguti. Yeah, it's closed basically, that's what it means. Okay. So
I think all right, it's saying it's a reset packet. Until this is all sending my packets, synchronization packet, and then synchronization acknowledgement packet, and Saka the reset packet it will send reset this connection T varies. Like what Christy is saying, kutito varisa that connection, need that reset thing. And Zoti maybe Davatsira Ereka not in the
Thank you very much. Okay. So, okay, in terms of my presentation, remember Bangons with the aid of diagrams. My diagrams to explain about right up here. I think 2 more diagrams that now are necessary. But I want you to go through the process here. Yes. All right. So, Tatisusu Panoda a PC Pakatinon zombie. I think that is a zombie. Tina attack tina victim and detail. So an idle attack to attack at the victim using attack Arkuseru PCE in this zombie. Anojita say. So you realize putting per every IP packet per internet in a not fragment identification number. Kana kuti in a brief IP ID and then so you realize the way it works in the equity as an operating system, we have ingoring number and increment every time but send a packet. This also. So that number IP ID here. So what happens when attacker anotanga send a SYN packet ku zombie and then over R respond and then over I pick up that IP ID number here, and it Tomboti is 3000. Remember, baby, a zombie it's not activity, cannot in a very slow traffic. Remember, and can IP ID can it send what global? It means good. You can send out the next one. It will always about 3000 and a tower. You have about 3001. You got the next one. 3002 shingo. So the idea and they could pick an out, but attacker by sender kunzi ku1 uku handiti apika kuti alright, that's the number iripo inonzi chi i3000. Then the next step manje yaanoita ndeyekuti atora madetails like IP apa handiti over achisenda packet to victim inoreceive a packet ichifunga kuti iri kubva kuna this one because madetails aripo ndi aya. I think in one of the lectures patakaita ndichaziva sim flooding ire takambodemonstratwa naengineer iripo wakachinja wachiisa just a fake IP address either as if it's being generated from a different machine. So this victim now inoresponda. Saka inoresponda inechi remember baba tati pane sin packet anditika. Then this victim yakuresponda but iri kuresponda ichifunga kuti rabva pane zombie pane the zombie machine. So this zombie PC now inoona yakuita sei yakureceive this but iyo now haina kusenda a sin packet and it to the server or to the victim PC. So for it it's more like a bogus kind of unsolicited sin acknowledgement. Saka inobva ngoshandisa reset yanditika, meaning it is iri kungoreseta sekuexplain kwa zvaita haisi acknowledge hapasina any communication. That's what happens even up. The next step saka already kana victim PC yasenda this, it means kuti port iri riri open already anditi tambositaura pekutanga pepe. Then the other scenario, the second scenario ndeyekuti in the event yekuti this port riri kuvictim riri closed inongosenda a reset packet. Then kuno kuzombie PC a reset packet hari invoke any acknowledgement or anything, saka rinobva rangopera rakadaro, meaning kuti this way hapana activity. Kudangodzoka mashure mbichani. Remember that attacker from attacker to zombie atanga ambosenda sin but then batora the IP number, IP ID number nditi, then obva azosenda uku ndobva yaresponda kuenda, it means kuti increment ndizvozvo. Then in scenario yakadai so yasenda uku kuri closed ndobva yasenda reset packet iranditi, means this one hapana action yaitwa, apangoramba pakadaro, hapana any increment hapana anything chaitika, sorry. So in terms of manje taura chitarisa manje but madiagrams tichona chitaura manje in terms of the IDO attack zvainoita ndezvekuti takushandisa IP ID number yanditika sin acknowledgement, then tobva IP ID nanditika is 45,000 this case anditika yobva yasenda to victim yaita reset. You realize kuti inongoincrementa nechi because inongoincrementa ne1 because one increment is another one because taakudzoka futi kunotasa kuzombi kuti yachinja ingori pa 45,001 means the increment ne1. Then a second scenario ndeyekuti inosenda then iri pa 45,000 yosenda apa iyo responda acknowledge ipa anozosenda pechi3 increment nechi ne2. Saka this process alone anditi iri kutoudza this attacker kuti kana paita change ye2 it means kuti kunoku kuri open, kana panapa yange increment ne1 it means kuti it's closed. And the reason achitoda yezombie kana pasina traffic ndepekutreka number iyi. The other issue ndekuti ukazoona this number yajamba ne more than 2 3 4 zvazvinongoreva ndezvekuti this PC iri kana yati kuti zombie is communicating and sending mapackets kumwewo kusine nechi neIDO scanning iri kuitwa. That's why it's really very important kutsvaga a PC irichi in a very low traffic kana historical traffic. So generally ndo process yacho iripo pa IDO scan. So unoda a zombie PC, unoda in a port 8 inongera open because ndo iri perform for TCP connection. Then you need to find like what you call a good zombie. something chine very low traffic kana kuti chiri kutransmitter kana chisiri kutombo transmitter, it also that you can actually track the IP ID to determine kuti the victim spot irichi. The reason being kuti iwewe unanga uri behind kana looking percent that PC you don't want to be seen. I think in short that's what an IDOS scan is. Thank you. I don't know what my questions.
Okay, I have an ask from this side.
Okay.
Yeah, chekutanga I want to ask you this thing chamati the Nmap IDOS scan ndo yama presented.
Zio.
Okay, so this one is an attack, and also maybe I want to ask from the first one, the three-way handshake in TCP and IP. Is it also an attack from the previous diagram that I Pamsura? Kanaguti, is that one was just an explanation of a diagram which describes operation whereby the client and the server communicates, where we have a synchronization and an acknowledgement. Then it has pana IDO, pana Nmap IDO scan. Ndakona saying it's an attack. So can you help me to figure out the three handshake, TCP and IP, and also the Nmap IDO? Kuti that one tango tsanangura hedu asapa tautsanangura attack.
All right. Kana tichiti andapata ti inonzi TCP connection establishment mechanism anditika kana kungoti just the three-way handshake. Sektora kwa yaita pick pa diagram rectangle iri. Let me go back. This one andike. So it means that that's how she communicate. That's how packets are exchanged between the client and the server, between two pieces, and it passing any attack. This one.
Can I answer today, Christy? The three-way handshake, it's also used by attackers to establish communication with their target through the TCP scan.
Okay.
So when you carry out the TPC scan, you use the hackers use the three-way handshake to establish communication.
Okay, I think question, and this was exactly question. Yeah, did Jeremiah did it? Yanga iri yekuti, is this an attack? Kana tichiri pana papa three-way handshake. Sekupresenta kwa yaita. So at this point tukuti it's an attack. But remember patataura it's just a three-way handshake andite. But remember patataura kuti iwe as a hacker kana tautaura kuma hacker andite. Tukuti isusu one of the first steps kana ifenoshila kuita a network based attack andite. Rotate port scanning andite. Saka unogona kuita port scanning uchishandisa because remember tine a white hacker andite. A gray, a gray hacker, a black chichi. So the difference is kuti maybe your intentions, you're your motive. So my tools are not someone you can also use them as a hacker, as an attacker. So in terms of network-based attack now, it's the same port scanning, but in this case now the difference is kuti iwewe akusuda kuita directly which reveal your location. You just want to impersonate or to hide behind someone. So you are doing that more like it's illegal. You are hacking now. But under normal communications, under normal, that's how packets are exchanged between a client and a server. I don't know to explain as the
thank you very much. I think that's great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you very much, Christy. Thank you, Tim, for the contributions. We move on to the next question if there are no any other questions. So the next question was, state any pre-Nmap scan types besides IDOS scan and explain them briefly. Who are the presenters? This one is Admired Marilyn. Do you have Admired Marilyn with us today? Is Marilyn Mary Maingire? No. They are different. So what I can do is I can just present what was shared. Let me share my screen. Okay, so the presenters, they shared these. State any other 3 Nmap scan types besides IDOS scan and explain them briefly. They said the first one is ping sweep. And they said it's a technique used to identify if the hosts are alive in the networks using their IP addresses. The ping sweep method is used to ping many hosts at once. If the users need to know only the number of IP addresses and not many details, this ping sweep is very useful. This is faster, and then the results to be known is fetched easily. In between these packets, they get validated and the response comes back to the sender host. For this reason, ping sweep or ping scan is also known as a two-way handshake protocol. So this is the first one. The second one is the SYN scan. This is another form of TCP scan. The difference is, unlike a normal TCP scan, Nmap itself crafts a SYN packet, which is the first packet that is sent to establish a TCP connection. If an acknowledgement packet is received back to the system, it is sure that a port is opened there. No response means that the port is either closed or it's not available. So here the acknowledgement packet is not sent back to the system, assuming that the connection is not valid. What is important to note here is that the connection is never formed. Rather, the responses to these specially crafted packets are analyzed by Nmap to produce scan results. This scan is not shown in most of the scan logs, and hence it is safe to use SYN scan to identify the ports. So that is the other one. Then the presenters also shared a now scan. Now scans, they set all the header fields to now. Generally, this is not a valid packet, and a few targets will not know how to deal with such a packet. When a system is not running Windows, this can be used as an effective way to get through. A now scan is a series of TCP packets that contain a sequence number of 0 and no set flags. In a production environment, there will never be a TCP packet that doesn't contain a flag. Because the now scan does not contain any set flags, it can sometimes penetrate firewalls and edge routers that filter incoming packets with particular flags. The expected result of a now scan on an open port is no response. Since there are no flags set, the target will not know how to handle the request. It will discard the packet and no reply will be sent. If the port is closed, the target will send an RST or a reset packet in response. Information about which ports are open can be useful to hackers, as it will identify active devices. So as we are going through these methods that have been shared, you can pick the one that you want to comment on, and then you comment once we finish them. There is also a TCP connect scan, which is similar to SYN scan. The difference is that the full connection is done by sending the acknowledgement packets back. The logs can easily find the TCP scan and need more power from the machine to do the work. But this is more accurate than the SYN scans. If all the accesses related to OS are available to the user, it is better to do a TCP scan than an SYN scan, as all the low-level and high-level accesses are required for this scan. The network is also loaded more, and hence the user must be careful about loading the systems and networks. They said there is also the RPC scan. This is the remote procedure calls, which are done by hackers to make the system vulnerable to virus attacks. It is thus necessary to know whether a system answers such calls and makes our system open to malware attacks. RPC scan is done to check this by finding the ports open with certain commands being run by RPC. RPC scans are used to discover machines that respond to remote procedure call services. And RPC allows commands to be run on a certain machine remotely under a certain set of connections. The RPC service can run on any array of different ports, hence it becomes hard to infer from a normal scan whether RPC services are running or not. It is generally a good idea to run an RPC scan from time to time to find where you have these services running. And then the people also mentioned UDP scan, the acknowledge scan, FIN scan, XMAS scan, and all sorts of things. So these are the presentations. Anyone with any additions? Maybe colleagues can assist. Hello, any questions, colleagues? Okay, anyone to react so that I know that I'm still online.
People, guys, this man.
You are there.
Saka apa tozoenda kuno research anditi. Okay, we move to
guys, I'm so tired.
Maneta, what? Auxilia, you are saying it was your question.
Hey, ndinenge ndatoposa ndotoshamsika kuti what's going on?
Ayo, ndoshamsika nemaanza ako era.
No, like ndoshamsika kuti kuma-answer auya pa-screen sei what's going on? Ndoshaye kuti zvii zviri kuitika because I think I was dozing off.
Oximuregerero yagara ngaruba mukana 3.
Okay.
Ndandiri mu-AP kubva na 2 kusvika na 5. Saka nhasi ndandakato all right.
Okay, let's go. So who are the other presenters? Question 4A, it was talking about penetration testing methodologies. Somebody sent this presentation.
I did send that presentation.
So it's a 10. Go ahead and take over. Do you want me to present for you or you want to present by yourself?
Please do.
So go ahead and talk.
Okay, nyaya ingoripo apa ka. Ndichandiregerawo ini ndaneta. Zvisinei, pane ndikumboti ufambise screen rako kusvika pane matools. Pane zvanoda kutanga ndataura pamatools. Kana kuti I can open another one from here. Mukundinzwa zvakanaka here?
Loud and clear.
Maita basa matitira question yedu.
Aiwa, handina kuita uchazoona, handina kuita question yenyu. Question ndisaka ndamuti afambi and now a question yenyu. I'm looking at my popular
But
tools
indeed,
commonly used during website penetration testing.
okay.
It was just an introduction. Yekungoti, what is it? Wazvibata less?
Yeah.
Inini my aspect yangu iri apa patavi apa pekuti popular tools used during website penetration testing. They include vana W3AF, BepSuite, SQL Map, Metasploit, Hydra, John Reaper, amongst others. And it. So inini ndazongosarudza 3 andasarudza. That's W3AF package and it. Ne John Reaper. Ne BepSuite dziri 3 ndidzo dzandanga ndichida kutaura nezvadzo zvakanyanya. So the task yanga iri yekuti ndiyaite compare and contrast handiti? Question
Yeah, ndofu
question yanga ichiti ndi compare and contrast any 3 penetration testing methodologies. Ndo yanga uchiti ndo yenyeri lesi?
Yes. Ndo yakanzi Leslie nadananai.
Really?
Yebo.
Saka itai question yenyu guys.
Titongo continue
Aiwa. Issue fara data rangu.
Aiwa.
Number 4A. Number 4A. Hey, number 4A inadanana na list.
All right. Aiwa saka visai presentation yangu vasiye vaite yavo.
Tete mungadaro ziyo.
Okay, let's see. Isai presentation yenyu tifambe vanasatara.
Inadananai. Inini I didn't have, but yakangofanira because I checked my documents. I told about the same website. I told.
So you want to go through this presentation? Where is yours? Did you share it?
No, I don't have it. Inadananai.
Alright, saka chi tatizo.
Okay, kind of definition. So, okay, web application penetration testing is comprised of following steps, including information gathering, research and exploitation, reporting and recommendations, and remediation with ongoing support. These tests are performed primarily to maintain secure software code. Okay, so tikaenda papa penetration test actually, like this document, it's showing it can be external versus internal, network, social engineering.
Sorry, Leslie. There's some feedback.
It's not me, is it?
I'm not sure.
All right. Yaba, and this one.
Yes, thank you.
I think the Ishmael.
Whoever it was, thanks.
All right. Yeah, it was Ishmael. I told you not, it was me. Okay, so now so what is web penetration? So those are some of the functions. It can be wireless. Sorry, Kwizamchan. It can be wireless, firewall, physical, and the external versus internal, and the other two, right? So web application penetration in testing involves a methodology methodological series of steps aimed at gathering information about the target systems, finding vulnerabilities or faults in them, researching for exploits that will succeed against those faults or vulnerabilities, and compromise the web application. So now, like, web can be accessed through physical, and you can see kamunhu kari kutonatso kupinda physically inenge kutopinda machine. So vamwe atori muoffice imomo, then using a firewall, or it can be wireless, or it can be through social engineering network and external versus internal yacho. Satikadzika pasi manje, these are the tools. So okay, I'm not sure the ones that Danana had chosen, but if we were to just comment on 3, in any SQL map, I can say injection, and it. So when it's it's like an injection where you actually select, create, delete, insert zvatakaita kudatabase under Mr. Chinofunga. So that's how you then execute it, and then you attack. You do your web application attack using that one. So maybe you can even just read this one. That's now so W3AF package description. W3AF is a web application attack and audit framework which aims to identify and exploit all web application vulnerabilities. This package provides a graphical user interface GUI for the framework. If you want a command line application only, install W3AF console. The framework has been called the Metasploit of the web, but it's actually much more than that, because it also discovers the web application vulnerabilities using black box scanning techniques. The W3AF core and its plugins are fully written in Python. The project has more than 130 plugins which identify and exploit SQL injection, cross-site scripting that accesses, then remote file inclusion and more. So this is one. This is the syntax. Like Kali Linux, using the root, like your administrator. No, you put that syntax W3AF, and then you need to Tanga Kurana. Then you can go down. So then there's one in Onski, Spider. Spider is offered by BabeSuite. I can't see Angutichi. Tikako. Okay, it is a web spider crawler that is used to map the target web application. The objective of the mapping is to get a list of endpoints so that their functionality can be observed and potential vulnerabilities can be found. Spidering is done for a simple reason, that the more endpoints you gather during your recon process, the more attack surfaces you possess during your actual testing. So it means you get to spread it faster. Saka, maybe that's one of the, and it will a compare and contrast if you use Spider. So Iningi maybe in a faster penetration. Then number 2, proxy. BabeSuite. So these are components of Pep Suite. So there's the spider aspect, there's the proxy aspect, and then the intruder aspect. So Pep Suite contains an intercepting proxy that lets the user see and modify the contents of requests and responses while they are in transit. It also lets the user send the request or response under monitoring to another relevant tool in Pep Suite, removing the burden of copy and paste. The proxy server can be adjusted to run on a specific loopback IP and a port. The proxy can also be configured to filter out specific types of request response pairs. So I think in a nutshell here, proxy, even in the layman's term, proxy, it means giving this person power or authority in your absence. So this thing, it can allow you to copy and paste. It can allow you to move things whilst in transit. So you're not gonna give single ticket under normal circumstances. Then the third thing is intruder. How big is this file? So it's executed this way. And it is a fuzzer. This is used to run a set of values through an input point. The values are run and the output is observed for success or failure and content length. Usually, an anomaly results in a change in response code or content length of the response. Pep Suite allows brute force dictionary file and single values for its payload position. The intruder is used for 1. Brute force attacks on password forms, pin forms, and other such forms. 2. The dictionary attack on password forms, fields that are suspected of being vulnerable to XSS or SQL injection. 3. Testing and attacking rate limiting on the web application. So here they are just saying that it has the ability to it is a fuzz. It attacks mainly to get passwords. Yes. So shansa brute force to get passwords. Okay, then the fourth aspect is the repeater. Ishmael. Okay. So repeater lets a user send requests repeatedly with manual modifications. It is used for 1. Verifying whether the user supplied values are being verified. If users supplied values are being verified, how well is it being done? What values is the server expecting in an input parameter request header? How does the server handle unexpected values? Is input sanitation being applied by the server? How well the server sanitizes the user supplied inputs? What is the sanitization style being used by the server? Among all the cookies present, which one is the actual session cookie? How is CSRF protection being implemented, and if there is a way to bypass it? Okay, then sequencer. Okay, so all these are components. Touch sequencer, extender, scanner, then 4 being there, they have
Okay, thank you, Leslie. Edu anyora kugroup achitanda kupresenta zvakafanana neizvi. Edu da kupresenta zvipi? Can you come forward, Don?
Hi, Ishma.
Yes, go ahead.
I was supposed to present 3C, and my phone went off. So I'm wondering if it was presented. If it was not, I can still present.
3C Edu.
Younger the other types, Yama scans, Yama in scans. After Christy, just after Christy presented, it's supposed to have been presented. Yeah, that one. Mama did.
Izvi ndo zvako here kana kuti zvakatosiyana?
Handizvozvo kana maverenga kana machiita isipo.
Tawerenga, uda kutsanangura here? Tangoverenga. Tikangonzwa kuti hapana zvatiri kunzwa. Ine sentence ipi swing David azen kana uine that information?
Ping swing. The ping swing. Okay, there's a command known as ping. The command, the function there which is running mukwanise to check communication between a host and the target machine. So when you ping a machine, you suppose it has to give you some information to say, or the response to tell you that there is communication. The target is alive. So when we are using Nmap now, there is this scan in on the ping swap. Send a car one like a flood. Then you check within the network or within the subnet yako kuti how many points are alive. So basically it will go scan that could not points mangana are alive, are kushanda. So that's the other scan type you have by Nmap. And then
good. Proceed as you gonna get.
Yeah?
You can proceed even the other one.
Okay. Then since can I think though what we were explaining, when you say scene scan, you are talking of synchronize, but when you say you are synchronizing, it's a package that you're sending to your host. And that package, it has a message to say, my name is so and so. I would want to speak to you. So it has information, it has a header, it has my flags and all within it, which indicate who you are and what you would want from that host. So the host then would then reply. So when you are doing that scan, you are just trying to figure out to say, because when you are using Nmap, you are not using a genuine scene when you're sending. You are coming from an Nmap, which is the software that you are using, so that the host will respond to that, but you will never then respond to complete that three-way handshake. So when you are using scene scan on Nmap, you are sending a scene as if you are a host, or you want to be accepted. Yet in actual fact, you just want to check to see which machines can respond to you, which can respond to you. So that's the function. That's the scan you'll be doing. And then you run the now scan. You are scanning to figure out I think I'm but now ports. A now port is that one that does not respond, or that just keeps my request. So you're looking for my ports akadaro. And also when you use that one, there's a chance that when you then send information using my ports and it's my now ports, your information or your data can pass through a firewall inenge yakapreset inenge yanzi iyo tine parameters afana kupinda. But then if you are using a now scan, it doesn't have my details in it. My packets are they don't have my addresses, they don't have my flags. I'm going my 000. So they might end up getting or passing through a firewall. That's the idea. So no permissions now scan. The other one. TCP, I think three-way handshake. So I think Jeremiah was asking a question. TCP key, is it? Are you attacking? Is it you are just explaining? Yes. We were just explaining the function, how it works. But we can use that function, the way it works, as a way of scanning. Uone maports ari kushanda, ari alive, ari akafa ndapi, anokwanisika kuzoshandisa as an attacker. Or unoziva kuti attackers can then use this, and then you start closing those ports. So you can use this TCP connect scan by Nmap. It's another type inoshandiswa by PAP. So that runs 3. I then put, I think the other one is the 5th, yeah. RPC scan. My remote protocols, Panama services, a network from systems. You can access a machine remotely. So every machine or every host in my ports are assigned for remote access. So when you are doing the RPC scan, you are checking to see which systems, which machines can accept those remote connections. So if you are doing it so that you can close, you know to say, okay, this is where I should be careful. These machines I should close or I should accept, but I change definitions so that you can then protect the system. I think those are the 5 that I gave you. Then the other ones I was just saying, since we asked for 3, I gave you 5, and the other ones though, you can always research and in case. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Admire. It now makes sense because I just read through. It was really informative. I don't know if we do have any colleagues who've got anything to add before we move on to the next question. And the next question is on applications of data analytics in digital forensics. Yes.
Ishmael, sorry, the next question. I mean, I want to talk about zero here. Previous question, Maita and Leslie. Question is asking for, and this is now, is asking for methodologies. Is it? Ndaona sekuti matara matools.
All right. So takangani.
I mean, ndosaka ngatibatsirane vawo question kaya yakadai kana chitaura methodologies iri kuda chi kuda matools here kuda matechniques here kuda chi exactly.
Yeah, maybe there was a mix. Lesi angarudi ane document rinadana naye. Saka lesi rinadana naye rine matools rikati methodologies aya.
Check it to check.
All right, it's okay. Once you chat, maybe people can respond.
Ndachida kurespondawo kuti I don't know hangu, maybe it's issue yekungotsvaga zvinhu painternet and all, but ndanchitotsvaga ndichitoati methodologies, but madocuments ndavhura more than 6 anga chingondibuditsira matools vayo, saka ndazongofunga kuti maybe the tools are the methodologies. Handizoziviwawo kana pane anyone anoziva kuti methodologies acho anenge akaita sei. I think now is the best time to assist.
Okay, Ishmael ndori kushare nditi. Ishmael.
Ndakashare ndogona kubvisa.
Aiwa, share is fine. Ndoti uende because pa lecture yakati penetration testing yakaita slide 7.
Ethical penetration testing and threat intelligence.
Rakangonzi penetration testing, the PDF.
Alright. Right, let me share. Hey, Jan.
Sorry, page 7.
There we are.
Oh, all right. Sorry, usati wa continue. And we're only focusing on open web application security project. Sorry, for web application security. If you have the question, I think that's where my penetration testing methodologies for web application security.
With respect to and the question says compare and contrast any three penetration testing methodologies of your choice with respect to assessing a web application's security. Waziwa. Saka it means that maybe no methodologies in the eye. Maybe we need to go back that these are the methodologies that are with. Maybe it was an application and how do we use NIST kuchi apply ku na web application security act, or maybe information system security assessment framework, or the open web application security with regards to web applications. I'm not sure, but I think that is the item that is being asked. I need the response, otherwise no gonna understand the grammar.
Yeah, that was also my thinking. Then of course dilemma tools atinozoshandisa, so ndichifunga kuti kana chitaura in terms of methodologies ndo acho, because remember after my standard ways of doing my pen test and it, then we have various tools dzinozopinda ameno vanhu kuti munopaona sei.
Ndaona kuti pamuzvotaura ndozvinonyatsoita. What is left is for me to go and check kuti how can I use one of the methodologies in respect to the security of web applications. Then maybe by next discussion, we can come back with whatever we find. But I seem to concur with him.